Hey guys, welcome back. It's Two Guys Tea and D&D. We've been gone for a long time, but it's time for another brewing video. And speaking of brewing, tea. So today we're going to be looking at some airships and some sky pirates, which are going to be going into my world. And they have actually already been in my world in one session. My home group, which they thought was just epic. The assault of these pirates was great. So let's just jump right into it. So these guys are orcs. Don't know where they're from. Don't know what they do other than pirate. So, and I know that they have a sort of, they breed wyverns because wyverns are awesome.
Right. So first things first, for me, pirates are just awesome anyways, right? Because it doesn't matter what culture you're in, pirates just really invoke fear, in any traveler, any merchant, anyone that has to ply trade anywhere, whether the pirates be on land, sea, or in this case, in the air. I think that just makes them that much more, I don't want to say scary, but scary is what I'm going to say. Orc sky pirates. So help me out. So your sky pirates, they fly wyverns. So very
they have airships.
Like Warhammer.
They have airships, but they also have wyverns. So I suppose I can tell you a little about the tactic that I used on my players. That'll give you some food for thought. So basically, they're traveling to their destination. There's a big storm on the horizon. The orcs are causing this storm through, whether it's druids or shamans or whatever. They're causing this storm to sort of cover their approach, having spotted these guys from a distance. The players enter the storm, and this airship begins to sort of circle around them, closing in. And when it gets to about sort of level with them, it fires a grappling hook, which goes into the hull. Sort of once it's in, it goes, splays out, crunches in, and then they start reeling it in. At the same time, wyverns with orc riders, they fly off the airship into the air, circling above. Then when they're just above this airship with the balloon, they dive down. And at the last moment, the orcs jump off onto the deck, start just killing whoever's on top. The wyverns will, circle around, swoop in as necessary. So it's sort of a big shock and awe tactic, and then this ship will just come slamming into the prey airship, and then it just ends there. You're screwed.
So, who are these pirates? It sounds like they have a pretty good command of the air, because wyverns are not something just to scoff at. I know they're not true dragons, but one alone could definitely put a hurting on a seasoned party even. I could just imagine what it would be like to have several
up
in the skies around
party.
You. Right.
My party at level it was very mean. They were level 5.
Right.
And there was 6 of them though, so it's quite a large party. They had firearms, which helped.
So basically, this is a faction video, Harry. We're actually making the fact that they are sky pirates is just like icing on the cake. So this is what I envision for these orc band of pirates, is that they nest up in some mountain range, yet to be determined. But they nest up in this mountain range, and that's where they have these airships. And I'm thinking it's very primal in the sense that, if you were to see their encampment, you'd say, wow, what can these guys do? But then when you see their ship and their tactics, that's truly where they shine. Yeah. They've raised these wyverns. There's probably this wyvern nest or hatchery. And they raise these things from the beginning. And I would imagine that they're pretty brutal in the sense that they make these things docile and subservient to them, even though if the wyvern were really smart enough, it'd say, wait a second, I could easily kill this orc. But they don't. It's like, it's like a vicious dog that his that is trained by its master to be obedient to the master, but not necessarily to anything else. That's great. What would these guys be called? I mean, it has to be something that would probably like.
So I described them initially. The airship was very sort of pale in color, like very sort of white, either as camouflage to sort of mask itself in the clouds.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I was sort of describing them as this sort of pale, almost ethereal look as they approached, just to scare the living hell out of my players. They thought, oh shit, it's ghosts, it's shadows, it's awful, horrible things that I've sent them in the past. But no, it's orcs and wyverns. That sort of fear factor. So like ghost
you know what?
or something like that.
So if that's what they do, I mean, obviously that's like psychological warfare. Maybe these orcs, maybe their war paint is actually such that they white face themselves and do things to make them look maybe more ethereal. They have wisps of cloth, tattered cloths that kind of float off of them as they're flying with these wyverns. Maybe they put bone type armors on the wyverns themselves to make them look more gaunt and otherworldly. I mean, I think that would be great. It would be psychologically, that would really strike fear.
Yeah, maybe instead of steam power, they just use their sort of ability to control the weather to power their ships silently through the air.
This is just an idea. What about these ships themselves are powered by these gems? These gems are like in the helm of the ship, and what it is, it's actually depending on the size of the ship would determine like the size of the gem. Like smaller gems would be, and what's actually trapped inside these things are air elementals. And these air elementals, their life force is actually what keeps these ships afloat. I was in a game, and that's what the game master had. She had these 3 gems that were in this tower, and it actually kept this tower afloat. Now, if any of these elementals were freed or anything, the tower would start to fall.
I think Mike the Piper also has something. Is it a train powered by a fire elemental? I think it was.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And that's kind of where when I was in a one-shot with him, and when he told me that, I mean, I must have had like that shocked look on my face, like, because the thought in my head, I still remember it not to this day, was that is such a cool idea. To have trains powered by little fire elementals is just phenomenally awesome. And you're just like tossing them coal, and they're like just greedily eating because they're like, hey, this is working out for me. So I don't know if that's necessarily a good idea. Another thing, I've been reading this comic. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like rune magic. Maybe these shamanistic orcs, they carve these runes into the deck gunwales and stuff, the mast itself. And maybe these runes are painted across the sails, and that's what powers the flight. So long as these runes are there. Like but what needs to happen is they need to re-etch these runes because they fade over time as the magic is kind of exhausted. So these rune masters, these shamanistic rune masters, would be on a ship, and they would constantly be re-etching runes as runes begin to fade.
Make it a little bit more dark by using the souls of the captives they take from airships to power airships.
Oh, maybe not so much the souls, but maybe they need the blood, because that's what the runes need to be etched in. The blood of like
having these like pale white ethereal ships, and then having the sails just covered in blood runes. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Oh wait, there's got to be a cool name in there, and that's what I suck so bad at making up names.
I can't do names.
Shoot. See, because mine would just sound so like pedestrian and middle school. But all I can think of is. So would they be known to be orcs, or would they just be known as the pirates?
I think they're known to be orcs. Somewhat, at least. I mean, obviously not all orcs in the world are going to be like that. They are known. These particular pirates are known to be only orcs and wyverns. That's it. No other sort of race that accept them.
So what comes to mind is like first naming the tribe of orcs themselves. because orcs are typically tribal. I don't know if they're tribal in your world or not, Harry.
Some are, some aren't. It's
okay.
Mixture,
So like maybe the bleached bone or the bleached bone tribe of these orcs would be. But what would be a really cool name? And I want to do something that's kind of like ghost or ethereal to just
Why don't we see if the people will comment with a better name than we can ever come up with?
Yes. Well, let's give them a really bad name so that they really feel like they need to give us another name. Yeah. So just quickly, first thought that comes to my mind would be the white specters.
White specters.
Because because of the way they paint themselves, the fact that their ships are kind of whitewashed to look. I mean, obviously, there's a practical reason for it. It's to help them kind of blend in with clouds in the sky. Yeah. But it also adds to the fear effect.
Ghost Reavers, something really cliche, crappy.
Ghost Reaver. I like that.
Please comment down below and save us from our misery.
Save us from our lack of ingenuity.
Yeah. So,
all right. So where do they operate? Looking at your game world.
They have, I guess, probably. They wouldn't want to be too close to either of the empires, so they probably operate in the wilderness, sort of near the shipping lanes.
Yeah.
I say shipping lanes, the sky lanes, whatever
It'd still be. I think they still would be called shipping lanes. It's just that we would just the lanes would be in the air.
Yeah, they'd have to sort of operate probably near mountains.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps you can't go over this mountain range, so you need to go around. So maybe they're like on the tip.
Yeah,
they just take whatever they want.
Maybe it's one of your higher mountain ranges, and so much like you have to go through passes to cross from one side of the range to another. There's certain ways. There's only certain ways that they're like pinch points, and those are the points where they're known to strike.
Yeah.
So that's perfect. So just going back to the orcs themselves, so they have a ransom. Do they have a ransom people, or is it just take prisoners, either slaves or sacrifices?
I expect they will ransom like the really, really, really rich. But then otherwise they'll sell slaves to the Iron Domain or something like that. It's very much that's slaves for whatever they need, food, gold, magic items or whatever, just getting it from the Iron Domain for selling slaves.
Right. So Thurak is a name that comes to my head as maybe, if not maybe the tribal head, maybe one of the more powerful shamans, or maybe, I don't know, is the shaman the tribal head? I just see, because orcs are so warlike, or typically,
stereotypically
warlike. Usually it's like might makes right.
Yep.
In most. So Thurak would be this, just maybe he's a white, kind of like just to steal from the Hobbit movies, which are terrible movies, but that's another video. But the white goblin orc in that movie. So maybe that's what Thurak looks like. Maybe he's like this large, like albino orc.
Yeah, maybe that genetic anomaly is revered, is like sacred in their culture. They want to be leaders.
They are the ones that become.
They're chosen by whatever god they worship to be leaders.
Yeah.
I just looking at some synonyms, which I do frequently. I like the word like corsair or marauder for the names.
Yeah. Well, corsair is much too.
Marauder probably works quite well, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say Corsair just seems Corsair would probably be more of the factions that would be kind of battling against these orcs, these pirates, So
I think we need. I think We just need like a leader of this faction, this white orc, whatever his name might be or her name may be.
Well, I already threw out Thurak, which it came to me. I really like it. Thurak, because they got to have like some kind of
some name which brings about like, yeah, this guy is just,
like in Warhammer Fantasy, there's like, he wouldn't be just Thurak, he'd be like Thurak Bone Splitter or Thurak Bloodborne. Oh yeah, there we go. Thurak Bloodborne. Maybe his birth was just brutal. Like he ripped his way out of his mother's womb, and he was just, not only was he white, but he literally was white and covered with blood. Since that time, he was called Thurak Bloodborne, and yeah. And maybe here's something that I really love to do, but maybe he's not in his prime anymore. Maybe he's the older Thurak at this in this era, but he's still quite formidable. But maybe it's at that point where there's these other whites, these other whites that are now starting to whites, calling them the.
Taken out of context, this conversation is hilarious.
White marauders.
Oh,
there we go. There's a nice terrible name that someone can make much better.
I do like the other spelling of white. However you spell that, wraiths or
race like is another good one. You think of things that are just ethereal. Oh, banshee is another good one.
Yeah.
That's like be a good ship name, like the Screaming Banshee or something like that.
Revenants, phantasms, some cool names. Phantoms, specters. Yeah. Well, we'll think of some name for these rivals later, but that sounds pretty cool. This has already given me loads of ideas for several one-shots I'll probably never run.
Well, you have your home group, so you never know. You could, that's what's so great, especially if you're running sandbox game. You can kind of drop these kind of hints that say, wait a second, now that these marauding pirates, they seem to be upping and getting more bold in their attacks. They're coming closer to civilization now, whereas before they just stayed more to the mountains. What's up with that? It just could really creates a lot of really good flavor.
I mean, my party actually defeated them pretty handily. They murdered the wyverns quite horribly. Even because they were escaping, because they went really low health. These wyverns tried to fly off, but just got decimated in the opportunity attacks that ensued.
Right. Well, that's the challenge with air combat. Is the minute you lose your ability to fly, things go from bad to worse. Really quickly. Oh, something for these orcs too? Give them some sort of I know you gave them wyverns, but in the Princes of the Apocalypse, there's these air cultists, and they have these wingsuits that are very similar to the kind of wingsuits you see like people use nowadays, but obviously a little bit, with leather and whatnot. You should give them something like that, like not necessarily wingsuits, but maybe some ability that like a crude parachute, something like that, so that if there's time, like especially the wyvern riders, they would have these things that they would use, and they could use them if their wyvern should happen to be knocked out of the air. They could use it to glide down so that there's a better chance that they'll survive. Still not a guarantee, but they might also use it too as they're flying by and kind of strafing a ship. They actually, like you said, they jump off, and that kind of just controls their descent. They can kind of drop down. That would be just cinematically, that would be cool as shit.
Yep.
Because your players would literally be sitting there, especially someone that's not experienced this before. Literally, I see them like their jaws drop, like that's cool, but holy crap, I gotta kill this guy first. Kind of a thing.
Yeah, maybe it's probably like a great privilege to be riding these wyverns. So it needs to be some like rite of like passage, like killing something with this like white leather skin that is used to make these parachutes or this wingsuit or something. Then they can have the right to ride these wyverns, like killing some like white drake or something.
Right. like an ice drake, not a full on dragon, but like a lesser dragon kind. And from that, they craft this armor, and they don't wear like heavy armor, right? You wouldn't wear heavy armor because you got to drop like but you would have this like leathered armor, maybe this hide armor that you would wear, and maybe it's studded with something to maybe improve their armor class a little bit. But yeah, that would be cool, and they would have like it would be adorned with tusks and teeth from the beast that they've killed. Yeah, I like that. That's like, and those are like exalted warriors within the faction itself, your wyvern riders. Probably the only thing that would probably stand above them would be like the shamans themselves. Yeah, I like that. That's really cool.
Right, I think that's a good enough video there. I think we went for like 15 minutes. So
perfect.
Good. We've reeled ourselves in.
We're working on it. Work in progress.
So yeah, guys, please comment down below to give us a better name for these guys. Just ideas, whatever you thought of the video. Likes, dislike,
suggestions are always appreciated.
Suggestions, always great. Yeah, and we'll see you. I think next week, barring any.
Yep, next Sunday.
Right. Cheers for joining us.